What do you get when you mix a health coach and a wellness coach mixed with a lot of curiosity? You get two people who ask a lot of questions about health and wellness issues. Today, we ask, why is salt important in our food?
We had so many questions. Why do we need it? How do we get it? How much is enough? We asked all the questions, including how it impacts our weight. So let's get started as we ask.
Wait, what?
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kamna.
How is it going?
It's good. It's a little snowy here. I'm
I
not
can't,
liking this.
yeah, I can't believe it because last week it was 70 and
Ugh,
beautiful and sunny
I know. I
but
was
that's
walking the dog and everything.
that's Ohio for you, I guess.
It is no hat though today. I'm trying to brave it right now. How
Good
about
for
you?
you.
What's going on? I see you got a new background. I'm liking it.
I'm trying to be more professional.
Oh, you always are professional.
It's supposed to
Always.
be better for the sound, so I'm working on different things.
Oh, really? Do I need
Mhm.
that?
No, I think you're fine. Your sound is fine. I am very soft spoken, so
As
I
I
think it's
move the
better for
microphone closer because I worry now.
No, I'm too soft spoken, so that's my problem.
Okay. Hmm, interesting. So what's where do we want to start?
Well, let's start with our call to action and then I will tell you what I'm loving right
Okay,
now.
well, mine will be quick. I got an F.
Okay.
I didn't even
Oh.
remember what it was and I didn't do it. So
Wait,
so
do you
sorry.
have any idea what it
No,
was?
it
Something?
was to if I ran into people in the store, say instead of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry," say, "Oh, thank you for moving out of my way," or I don't know, it was gonna be to pay attention to that, and I honestly didn't even. But what I did realize is I don't run into a store unless I'm in a hurry.
Mm,
So, I don't even have time to think about what my call to action was anytime I'm
mhm.
in a store. I'm
Yeah.
in and out as fast as I can, and that's it. So,
You're just running, so it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Um, it's funny. Okay, don't get all self-conscious. But it's funny that we did this topic and then I started noticing within you and also myself how much we say, "I'm sorry."
I noticed it today.
Did you?
Just now before we hit record, I was like, "I think I said I was sorry to you, like, 3 times."
Yeah. I was really curious about that. I've never noticed it before.
Oh, I noticed it in a lot more people too.
Really?
Yeah, people at work, I noticed that they were saying it more, and you know.
It's just an observation.
I will also make an observation that people we've talked to that are in our call to action groups have said, "I'm sorry, but I know I shouldn't say I'm sorry," and it kind of made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. My call to action was non-existent. I didn't fail because I didn't really have an opportunity to execute it, and it was to not say sorry for being 5 minutes late.
oh, so
I
you weren't late?
I didn't really go anywhere
Oh,
this
okay.
past week. My kids were home, I was enjoying them. I didn't really go anywhere to say I'm sorry for being late. So,
Okay.
small blessings, but I did notice something else.
Okay.
Um, I say I'm sorry a lot, and I think I get defensive a lot in my normal conversations, so I say I'm sorry preemptively
Mhm.
because I'm trying to avoid a situation or a misunderstanding, and sometimes that situation is all in my head, so it's not really
Mm.
necessary, but it was very interesting that we talked about it, and then I was very observant about saying it and the frequency of "I'm
So
sorries."
are you saying that you preemptively say I'm sorry because you anticipate an argument?
Or I anticipate making someone upset or
Oh,
doing the
okay.
wrong thing or any number of situations.
Hmm, that's interesting. I think
Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people probably do that.
"Oh, I'm
As
sorry,
a
I only made coffee for myself. I didn't make coffee for you."
like a
You know?
politeness maybe thing. I don't know.
Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
just trying to be polite. I don't
I'm
know.
trying. I don't know if I am,
Hmm.
but I try.
So,
So, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna tell you what I love this week.
Oh, good. Thank
Um
God it's you. 'Cause I forgot. Go on.
So, I would like to go back to podcasts because I think there's a great a lot of information that we can gain from other listening to other people. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's a combination of information or focused listening that helps it to sort of sink in. And for
Okay.
me, this week, it's the Mel Robbins podcast. I find she has topics that we are just talking about in our regular life. And then she interviews people who have really good information, and you can take it for what it is. If it doesn't apply to you, fine, but if it does, even there's a small takeaway. I listened to what the one on ADHD, for example, and
Wait, I didn't even know there was one.
she interviewed a physician, or sorry, a doctor, but I don't remember what because it's been a little while since I listened to it. And I don't think I have ADHD, but it was so helpful to me to really understand what that could mean for either me myself or for other people in my life who potentially could be borderline.
Mhm.
And she has a lot of topics like that. I think her one of her latest ones is about protein and all
Mhm.
information protein. Did you listen to that one?
I did not yet, but it was recommended by 2 people.
Mhm.
One was my mom, but another person recommended that one to me as and you as well, and
Mhm.
it's one of those that I definitely will be listening to next when I
Yes.
have car time or something like that. I can't wait to listen.
Yeah, same. I like when I have opportunities to learn about things, especially
Mhm.
if I can put it into practice in my own life. I think
Mhm.
that's important.
Yeah.
So that's
I've
what I'm
listened to
loving.
a couple of hers, and I do love her. Love
Mhm.
her.
She's like no nonsense, which I like. She just gets down
But
to the
she's
point.
not, vulgar. No
Mhm.
nonsense. I don't
Right.
find her. Not that I have a problem with vulgarness, I don't, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes she is no nonsense, but
Mhm.
polite about it in a way. Anyway,
I feel like she's real. So,
yeah. I she's new to me within the
mhm.
last 2 months. I
Oh,
know
okay.
she's not new in general to the world, but to me, I am embarrassed to say I thought it was a man. Anytime somebody said a Mel Robbins quote, is
Mhm.
that I hope that doesn't come off as sexist of me. I just thought it was a man, Mel. I just was like, "Oh, that's a guy quote." Maybe that's why I never really looked into listening to her.
Oh,
That is
interesting.
sexist, but, I think that maybe that is why. Because if somebody said a quote, or another guy that has a quote on weight loss or health, now
No,
I'm
I
having
don't
aha moments about myself right now.
no, I don't think it's sexist, and I'll tell you why. I think we seek out people who are like us. If you want information about weight loss, you're looking for a woman because they have a different perspective than perhaps a man does.
Okay.
Like men might want health tips from another man because they're going through the same issues. It's not sexist. You're looking for familiarity.
Okay. That makes sense.
I think that's
'Cause
why I like her.
I remember when I finally looked her up because somebody recommended her podcast, I was expecting a man, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, it's a girl," and I listened to it immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My daughter recommended a podcast to me about being in your 20s. I don't really want to listen to that because it doesn't have as much relevance to my life as a 55-year-old woman, you know? So
Mm.
you look for things that you can relate to.
That's an interesting one. Maybe you should so that maybe she wants you to so you can, like, get her perspective on things.
Mhm. That's a good point.
She
Maybe
might
I
want you
will.
to for that
Yes.
reason, so that maybe you can understand what they're going through. You know what I
That
mean?
is a very good point. I didn't think about it
I'll
that way.
I'll give you an example. Maybe won't relate to this, but I, follow someone on Instagram. He's a teenager expert. I don't know, he's got a fancy title, but he tells you things that you should be texting your teenager,
Oh, wow.
like encouragement and things like that, and I like how he words it because forget what it's like to be
Sure.
15. So I love him, and I love whenever he posts, like, "Here's a text to send your kid today," like,
Mhm.
and it makes you think like, "Oh, yeah, I don't know." He's very good, and he always puts things into perspective from a teenager's point of view.
Okay.
So maybe that's your daughter's way of saying, "Mom, you need to." I don't know.
Good point. I
Yeah.
like it.
So, all right, well, we jumping into salt today?
I think so. The
All
reason
right.
this came up for me is because a few weeks ago I forgot what we were researching, something about gut health. And then I started to go down one of the side roads as I tend to do when I'm looking something up. I'm
Mhm.
like, we really should talk about this because I have so many questions.
Mhm. Did you get a lot more questions or did you get answers?
Both.
Okay, fair.
How about you?
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I also felt not smart a lot. And then
Mhm.
I had to reread something 50 times, if not more, to try and understand it
Sure.
because I didn't realize how complex the body is when it comes to processing really anything, but the salt especially. I was like, oh my
Oh,
God,
sure.
my body's amazing that it
Yes.
does all this. And I'm not paying attention to it, and it's my own body doing it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes. You know, where something that I kind of learned a little while ago, but it's kind of connected, and I'll tell you what I mean. So if you order chips or if they bring you chips at a Mexican restaurant, or
Okay.
if they bring you fresh bread before your meal has come, or those flatbread crackers or something salty and a carb before your meal, um, when they bring you these things that are salty and high carbs, first of all, the salt makes you thirsty, so you wanna order a drink, and
Mhm.
then the high carb count makes you have a blood sugar spike, and then within an hour, you come crashing down, and guess what you're ready for?
Dessert.
Yes.
I
So, it's a
remember you telling me that, and I was in awe. I was like, "Oh my god,
there's
they're a
a
genius."
deep psychology to all of this. That's why I
Mhm.
think it's really important for us to understand what this means.
Also, I was told at one time, and I don't know how true this is, but I have been told this several times that when you go to, like you wouldn't know this, I don't think, and all you can eat crab legs,
Mhm.
they salt the water for each order next time, more
Oh,
and more and more and more that they boil them in so that you get more thirsty and you
wow.
fill up so that you're not wanting to eat crab legs like 15 times.
Wait, so they salt it so you will feel full?
So your first batch of crab legs is delicious, and then you can get
Okay.
another batch because it's all you can eat, and they put salt in that.
Oh, I
And then
gotcha.
you're so thirsty because of the salt that they put it in. And then if you get another one, they add even more salt, so you're drinking more.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's a lot of psycho garbage with even that kind of food.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm. Isn't that
Who would
crazy?
have thought somebody thought of
Well,
this?
that's all money making because they don't wanna lose money.
Right.
Because there are some people that can eat a heck of a lot of food. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Especially if they
Wow.
love it and it's all
Mm,
you can eat for one price. Anyway, thought that was
very
always
interesting.
interesting too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so you jump in and tell me where we're going because I was all over the place.
Well, I also was all over the place, but I thought we could start with what is salt
Okay.
and kind of why we need it and what it is. And salt is 40% sodium and 60% chloride. So sodium chloride.
Okay. Okay.
It flavors food and is used as a binder and stabilizer.
Okay. Don't know really what that means.
So it like keeps food cohesive instead of falling apart.
Okay.
Um, it also acts as a food preservative. We know this because
Yes.
people pickle things or cure things, and um,
Mhm.
bacteria cannot thrive in the presence of high salt.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why you can preserve something with the sodium.
Hmm. Okay.
And that practice has been around for a long time.
Mhm.
And the human body requires a small amount of sodium to conduct nerve impulses, contract and relax muscles, and maintain proper balance of water and minerals.
Mhm. So we
So
need salt.
we really do.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. What did you find about what salt is?
Well,
How
I
much do we
really
need?
all right. What did you find? I saw only 1 to 2 grams of salt,
Okay.
which
I don't know.
is 460 to 920 milligrams.
I found something different.
All right.
The dietary guidelines for Americans, and I think it's the American I don't know the source of this, but 2,300 milligrams per day or less. And I don't know how
That's
many.
yeah, that's totally different than I found, so that's an
Mhm.
maybe
I
I could
saw
do a
this.
real live fact check and see what I find right now.
I saw this number in two different places, so I gave
Okay,
this more credit than the. Initially, I read 500, and I thought, well, that's really low.
that's what I found, yeah, between 4 okay,
Less than,
less
but
than 2,300 milligrams per day.
yeah. So what that
Yeah,
means in real life terms is most American. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that was mi mine was minimum.
Okay, minimum.
Sorry.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes, sorry.
So 900 minimum grams
Mhm,
or
mhm.
milligrams.
Milligrams.
Okay, milligrams. Most Americans consume at least 1.5 teaspoons of salt per day, or about 3,400 milligrams of sodium.
I believe it.
So that's way more than we're supposed to be getting.
Mhm. Do you believe it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Once I started
okay.
looking up why, I was like, oh, of course, this makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I was just I thought that interesting, and then too much salt, and I think a lot of these things we already know, but, can lead to high blood pressure,
Mhm.
heart disease, stroke, and can also cause calcium loss.
I saw that. I was blown away by that. If you have too much sodium, it can create calcium loss, and it's pulled away from the bones.
Mhm.
Did not know that. I did
Yeah,
not know
so
that.
it's like you have to hit the Goldilocks spot of salt.
Oh, you're
Mm.
good analogy there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which has gotta be hard.
Yeah, especially with the kind of diet we have now
Mhm.
as Americans, it's just heavy in sodium.
Oh, yeah. Alright, so let me tell you what I finally understood that what happens, when you have salt, really what happens to the body. So I didn't realize that your kidneys have a constant balance ratio of
Mhm.
sodium, potassium, and water in your kidneys at all times. It's a constant ratio. And your body is so smart that if you get too much salt, it has to fix that ratio and bring up the water immediately so that it takes water from every other organ in your body or makes you drink more to get that ratio up. Same with the potassium. It's this ratio. And I feel like finally it made me understand it. Because you know, when they say like you have a lot of salty foods, you feel bloated, it's
Mhm.
because that ratio is all up now. If it's normally down to, I'm just saying, like, let's say a five, level five, 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 and five. You have a lot of salt, so now you're at a 10, and the salt, your body needs a 10 in the other ratios as well, and you're just completely out of whack.
Mhm.
I was blown away by that because I never really understood why,
Right.
you
No,
know?
that makes sense. And
Mm-hmm.
we all know when we eat too much salt, the next day the scale is gonna be up. We've talked about this before, at least 2 or
Mm-hmm.
3 pounds.
Oh yeah, and
Uh,
that's why.
Mhm.
That's why. Also, it also said that, and I think I just briefly said this, but I wanted to talk about it more. When you do have a lot of salt, your body automatically is taking water from all of your other organs, which
Mhm.
can lead to that dehydration.
Oh, okay.
Or,
Yes.
have you ever felt foggy because maybe your brain is, maybe it's too much sodium that you had because your body, your kidneys are taking away the sodium from that organ, your brain.
Right. It's
So,
just a I think from your explanation, it sounds like the your body's just adjusting to the overload of sodium. So
mhm.
it's saying, "Oh, we have too much coming in. Beep, beep, beep,"
Right,
all
right.
sore hands on deck. So
Alarms, alarms, yeah,
yes,
alarms are
all the
going off.
resources get pulled off from all the other organs, which
Mhm.
is then why you feel sluggish, why you feel foggy, why you feel dehydrated. Like that can be for so many
Yeah.
things.
This makes so much sense to me now.
It does. Um, Speaking of while we're on the topic of electrolytes and dehydration,
Okay.
I was looking up why some people say that they put salt in their water, to drink.
Ugh,
Some people
ugh. Go on. I could never. Go on.
some people add a little bit. And I think it's
Okay.
for people who work out a lot. It helps
Okay.
them to rehydrate their cells better.
Okay.
That's why they
Okay.
need it's act as a electrolyte balancer.
Like, we're not talking about a lot, right?
No, no. No, not a
Okay.
lot.
Like a little bit.
It just helps your, cells, here it is.
Well,
Putting salt in your body when that's the wrong thing.
wait, I have to tell you really quick. I probably never knew this because I've never worked out a lot. I've never heard of this nor tried it because I've never been like, I gotta work out a lot and now figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Never been an issue for me.
Well, that's a really good point. I've never worked out that much either, where I'm
You
sweating so
know?
much that I
Where I'm
need
like, "Oh my gosh, what should I do? Oh, I could add a little salt to my water." I've never Googled what happens when you work out too much ever in my life.
but it also is true for many, many, many years ago. My husband was dehydrated and I took him to the ER because he was not well. And they said you can make, I think I mentioned this before, you can make an electrolyte solution at home with like salt
Mhm.
and sugar. And I want to say some lemon, but you don't probably need that. It's just for flavor. But the sodium works like a magnet to draw water into the cells.
Oh, I
So
didn't know
it's
that.
sort of like the sodium saying, hello, enter, please come
Yes.
in.
It's the greeting committee. It's the welcoming
Yes,
committee.
they put
Hmm.
out the red carpet. So, and to, it's sort of a weird situation that you need sodium and potassium in the electrolyte solutions for hydration. But if you have too much salt, then you need to sweat it out. And the too much sweating it out means you need
Yeah,
rehydration.
it's a mess, isn't it?
Yes.
It's confusing.
Yes.
Yeah, the body's amazing that it just does all this and I don't have to worry about it because I would be a mess if I had to figure this all out on my own.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I also was looking up then what kind of foods are tend to be higher in salt.
Okay, tell me, is it cheese? Is cheese one of them?
Yes.
All right, I knew that. I don't know why, I just feel that way. Go on.
Well, I don't know the science of cheese, but it doesn't cheese have salt added in addition to the sodium from the natural
And
milk
I would think
as
so, and
a
I would
preservative?
yeah, preservative, right? So it doesn't get moldy as
Right.
fast, I would think.
Yes.
Okay. What's the saltiest besides, like, potato chips?
Uh, any kind of snacks that are processed. Chips are
Okay.
number one, fast
Okay.
food, fried foods,
Okay.
processed foods, and restaurant meals.
Okay. Not even specific, just anytime you eat out at a restaurant, you're eating more sodium than you should.
Yes, and there's a
I believe
reason
it.
why they so this is we're jumping around all over the place today, but there was so much, like, random information I was curious about. So then
Yeah.
I wondered, why do restaurants put more sodium in your food?
Okay.
I
Is that
is
tell me why.
is this making sense so far? Are we jumping around too much? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Um, Salt enhances the sweetness and reduces the bitterness of food. So
Okay. Wait, have you ever and I think maybe not, on Netflix, there's a documentary called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Have you
I've
ever
heard of
watched
it.
it?
No, have you?
You Yes, it was so, so, so fascinating. I mean, and I don't cook that I mean, I cook, but I'm not a sh by any means. And yes, every dish should have those 4 elements in it
Mhm.
in order to have this amazing, robust flavor because, yes, the salt does bring out the sweetness.
And it reduces the bitterness. So something
Yes.
might taste better at a restaurant and you're saying, "Well, I make the same dish. I don't know why it doesn't taste as good." It's probably because you put way less salt than a restaurant does.
Mhm.
And there is it acts as a preservative, which we've talked about, but if you a restaurant is using it, then they want the shelf life of that item to last longer.
Mhm.
So it's probably not good for you long term to eat something that they're trying to make their shelf life
Last
extended.
forever.
Yeah,
Mhm. I know. It's gross. It's all about money, really, when you narrow it down, like,
yeah.
the reason they're doing that is to have costs cut so that they're not buying fresh stuff and produce and all that all the time. I mean,
Yes,
realistically, that's what it's about. It doesn't
right.
matter if it's bad for us or it's killing us or it's harmful to us. It's literally about the money.
Right. Right.
So,
High salt diet can make you hungrier. So if you're eating out at a restaurant or you're eating a lot of snack foods, you can just feel hungrier. And the feeling hungrier means you're going to pick things that are,
mm,
again, high in salt. And then you may not be getting enough nutrition, which can then lead to diabetes and heart disease and et cetera, et cetera.
what a mess.
Yeah.
It really is. Dang.
Yes.
Well, I know that anytime I eat at a restaurant, the next day on the scale, I'm up. I don't care if I got a salad, I'm still gonna be
Hmm.
up
Yes.
because of whatever. It's crazy how much it is. And pizza, I think I've shared before, if I eat pizza, that scale is up for 3 days.
Oh,
3 full
wow.
days. My body and pizza is a 3-day window, which is good to know for me because if I
Hmm.
have it, I know, listen, don't step on the scale or just be
Right.
patient. It's just the sodium from probably the cheese and everything else coming at me. And the spaghetti or the pasta sauce on it or the red sauce, whatever. Pizza's got to be one of the saltiest.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
Because
good
you have
though.
the dough and then you have the sauce and
Yeah.
you have the toppings. It's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
trifecta of sodium.
Probably. There's that trifecta word. What did you find is the best salt you can have?
So this was interesting. Everything I was reading was sort of not contradictory, but I got different information. Did you find something specific?
Well, I mean, I got the most popular, but
Mhm.
I did the top 10 most popular salts, which by the way, I know nothing about salt because I never even heard of half of them. But I wanted the healthiest.
Okay, so the best, let's see, pink Himalayan salt and different types of sea salt are less processed and may contain more trace minerals.
Yes,
That's what
I
I got
saw
for
the
the
same
best.
thing. Himalayan pink sea salt. Did
Mhm.
you know that it has all 84 trace elements that your body needs to function in it?
No, I did not.
Yes, it also promotes stable blood sugar, reduces muscle cramps, and facilitates optimal pH in your body.
Wow.
So I'm gonna go buy pink sea salt this week.
I have it. I should
I
use it.
I don't use it. I use white table salt all the time, and
Mhm.
even when I cook, I don't have
Same.
pink Himalayan sea salt at all.
I did find something interesting. Finely ground salts are dense, so they can tend to contain more sodium than coarser salts.
Oh, is that why they're more sodium?
Hmm.
Because they're that makes so much sense to me.
So if
Hmm.
you add table salt, it's going to pack more of a punch than like a pink salt or sea salt or
Yeah.
something else.
Hmm. Table salt is the most popular, is what I
Hmm.
read. I mean, it's not the best for you, but the most popular. And you were just telling me before about what they put in table salt.
Well, so table salt obviously is the fastest ways to get sodium into your body, but they added iodine many years ago as a way to prevent diseases, and iodine is a necessary compound for good thyroid health.
It
But the
is necessary?
yes, we
Okay.
need it, and we don't really get a lot of it in our diet. So the addition of it into the salt was a good thing, but the problem arises in that they also add anti-caking agents into the table salt, and those are where you get in trouble.
Mhm. They're not good for you.
So the anti-caking agents may be bad for your stomach and may damage parts of your intestine and may deplete vitamin C.
Ugh. They add that and they added iodine,
Mhm.
which you need the iodine, but the anti-caking is not good.
No.
So, okay, so let's say I throw out my table salt.
Mhm.
How and I go buy my pink salt. How can I get iodine?
Well, you can get iodine from a lot of your foods. Um, and I think some of these things you eat, some of them you may not.
I'm sure I
But
don't eat many.
seaweed, so that would
Yeah,
be
no. That's a
like
hard
a
no for me.
nori kelp kombu or something called wakame. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Any of the things that are like from the ocean type or from the sea, they will be higher in iodine.
Okay.
Fish and shellfish. Do
Nope.
you eat that? Nope. Okay.
Nope.
Dairy, milk. cheese, and yogurt, which
I'm not eating that right now, so I'm
okay.
gonna be iodine free.
Eggs,
Okay, I get that.
beef liver,
Never.
and chicken, and I think some, vegetables have it too, but I didn't really look
Okay, so that's
very
something that I
hard.
need to research a little bit more for myself. That's me
Mm.
personally.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, all right. Maybe that's another whole topic, but yeah. All right.
Probably.
So kosher salt was the number 2 most popular
Really?
salt. Yeah.
Huh. Why?
It's just one of those that everybody knows of, which I can attest to. Like those are the 2 salts I have in my home, kosher
Mhm.
and table salt. That's it.
Right.
That's my extent of salt knowledge.
Okay. Do you
What
have
salt? Wait, time out. This is dumb. What salt is on soft pretzels? Because I love that salt.
I would guess because it's not a fine salt, it's a coarser salt. It's probably like a kosher salt coarse. Social
Hmm.
oh my god, I'm having trouble here.
I
A
gotta Google it
kosher
because I can lick
salt
that salt.
fine is less sodium than a coarse kosher salt. Maybe it's the fine one.
I
I
love
have
that.
the amounts of sodium in the different salts, but
Okay, tell us. Tell us.
iodized table salt has 2,300 milligrams in 1 teaspoon of salt. These are all for 1 teaspoon.
Okay.
So
So 2,300. I'm writing this down as we go. Okay.
kosher salt coarse is 1920.
Oh my God, that's so much less.
Kosher salt fine is 1120. And I feel like I might have got that backwards, but I don't know.
Okay.
Sea
Even if you did, it's still a lot less.
It's a
Okay, go
lot
on.
less. Sea salt fine is 2120, so that's pretty close to table salt.
Okay.
Pink Himalayan salt is 2200.
Okay.
I missed one, sorry. Sea salt coarse is 1560.
Hmm.
So that would be a good one.
Guess what? I also went on a rabbit hole with sea salt.
You
And
did?
I yeah, a stupid one, but by the way, sea salt also has zinc and potassium and iron in it.
Ooh.
They evaporate seawater and they like scrape I didn't know that that was the process to get that. I don't
Hmm.
know what I thought was the process to get sea salt, but I did not know it was that.
Oh, well, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Black salt.
Is that the black Hawaiian salt? I
Uh,
think so.
is it?
Yeah,
It.
I think so.
I think it looks pink, but it's black salt.
Okay.
1150 to 2200. I think it depends on the type of
Okay.
salt. And this potassium salt, which is a substitute for salt, 0.
Oh, the fake salt. What
Mhm.
is that?
I think it's just I didn't actually look into it, but
Like, I remember my mom used to buy Salt Sense, it was called, and it was like
mhm.
it was our fake salt we had to have because of my dad, but, like, I don't know what it
Oh,
is. Was it just a artificial chemical?
I
Like,
did not look that
I
up.
wonder what it is.
Should I Google that really quick?
Um, real quick, you can yeah, Google it while I tell you about this. Have you ever heard of fleur de
Fleur de
sel?
sel,
Yeah, how do you say that? Say it again.
fleur de sal. I don't speak French, but I think that's
Me
what it
neither.
is.
Did you know it's the most expensive salt?
Why?
Because it's harvested from tidal pools in Brittany, France, from Brittany, France. It's paper thin and it's a delicacy.
Oh,
You can only harvest it on the water surface on sunny, dry days. It's like $80 for whatever a little thing is. Like, I'm like, it's like extremely fancy. The article I was reading said basically no one you know has it. Like, well, how do you
oh.
know I'm not fancy? I'm not, but I'm just saying.
If it's $80 or whatever it is.
Whatever size, I don't know. I've never even heard of it. Have you heard of it before?
I've heard of it, but I don't know if that I would buy it.
There's also the Celtic sea salt, which it was
Yes.
actually number 5, which I've never heard of that.
I
That's
just bought it.
harvested really? Why?
Yeah. Because I thought that was supposed to be better. Every like natural food healthy advocate is saying use a Celtic or Celtic salt.
Yeah, however you say it.
And so I went and I thought it was going to be hard to find. It's in like all grocery stores.
Really? I never even knew that this was a
It's in
thing.
a bag.
It's
Go ahead.
harvested from the bottom of a tidal pond in France, not Brittany,
Oh,
France, but yeah, from the bottom of the pond.
wow.
I had no idea. Thought that was interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you look up,
I
are we, you're looking up what is fake salt, right?
I was trying to look up what it is, but of course it takes more than just like a cursory
Because
glance.
it's hard to understand.
It's a metal halide salt composed of potassium and chlorine. It is odorless and has a white or colorless vitreous crystal appearance. I don't know. I don't
It's
know
a
what
very
it is.
scientific definition.
Yeah, I'm useless at reading understanding this.
Good. I feel glad that you can't understand it because I don't either. How about flake salt? Have you heard of flake salt?
I think I have. I never used
It's
it or maybe.
saltwater salt. They get through evaporation and boiling it. It's
Oh,
flakier than the sea salt, which is like chunkier. It's more of a
mm-hmm.
flake.
Hmm.
Never knew about that.
Wow.
Black Hawaiian salt, which is what I think you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That one is harvested from the volcanic ash in Hawaii.
Oh, that sounds
And
so
they have a
exotic.
red one too, but the red salt is actually from the clay in Hawaii. Had no idea these are
Wow.
like I look up top 10 salts and I've never heard of 7 of them. And then there was smoked salt. Have you ever
Oh,
had
what's
smoked salt?
no?
It's smoked for 2 weeks over a wood fire.
Does
They
it tell
just
you
take
what
the
the
salt.
ben?
No, I didn't know anything else, but I've never heard of it. It's great to add to food if you like a smoky flavor.
Oh, interesting. I did read that, you're supposed to have a bunch of different salts for different purposes.
Oh,
So, maybe like a kosher salt for cooking and baking, and maybe a fleur de sel for
sal.
like a finisher on the top, or like they serve different purposes. Or for like the smoked salt, that would be for a particular flavor.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I guess I'm boring when it comes
N-
to that kind of stuff.
I think we just don't know what we don't know.
You're right. Very true.
Um, the thing that kind of got me, and we started talking about this in the beginning, is the reason why we need to pay attention to this is because the majority of the food that we get into our house, cookies, chips, even the frozen foods or prepared foods, all of those are higher in sodium.
Mhm.
And if you're not paying attention, it could cause sort of like a rippling effect. You have a high sodium food, and then you want a beverage, and that beverage maybe causes your sugar to topple down, and then you want something else. And then, it just causes the ripple effect of eating that we need to put a stop to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is we beat ourselves up for it. If
Hmm.
we see a scale gain or our pants aren't fitting right, we're like, God, I'm terrible at this. I'm never going to get where I need to go. And it's really not, that's not what it is.
Right.
Sometimes. Sometimes, yes, but sometimes it is not what it is. And we have to be aware of that, you
Well,
know?
I think the problem is we tend to blame ourselves for not having the willpower. But if we look at sort of the trigger, if you ate a bowl of pretzels, for example,
Hmm.
then what does that do next and next and next? You have to take a look at what was the starting point, because maybe you can correct that and then not have the next and next,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, don't even start with it if you can't help it.
Well, I don't know who can.
Right. If you can have a small amount, that's great, but most people want more.
Have you ever had something and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I could drink a beer with this or a pop with this?"
Mhm. Like one thing goes with the other, you mean?
Like, for example, I think I told you this a long time ago. If I had pizza or Mexican, I always wanted a Pepsi,
Mhm.
always,
I
to
always
balance
think
it.
of you every time I have that.
And it's because I found a reason for it, and I'm not going to find it because my notes are so all over the place.
I'm trying to think if I have a food that goes together. Like,
So, yeah. Do you?
no, I mean maybe, but I'm trying really hard to no, I don't know if I do.
So moderate consumption of alcohol enhances the taste of salt. So if you had a beer and then you had a pizza, for example, because I think people eat and drink
Yeah.
those things together, the
Yeah.
pizza is going to taste better. So
Because the salt enhances the beer or the beer enhances the salt?
the beer enhances the taste of the salt.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And this fact was really interesting to me. If something has higher salt, it's going to make you drunk faster.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, so wait, so back up. If you're going out drinking and then you get fried food and all of that other stuff that's at the restaurants or
Mhm.
happy hour, you're getting drunk faster.
Yes. And then
Why?
of course, well, because it makes your bodies absorb alcohol more quickly. There's some science behind it
Because
that
of
I
the
can't.
salt, probably.
Yeah, and you
It's
will get more inebriated with salt. Think about the only drink I've ever really drink is a margarita
okay.
with the salt on the
Salt
rim.
on the rim, and you get
I
drunk fast.
I half a margarita and I'm toasted.
I act like I've seen you that way. I haven't, but I would love to. But that's another whole conversation. So you're saying like the salt enhances that too?
It makes you more drunk
Yeah.
quicker, and then your inhibitions go down, and then, of course, what do? You just eat everything you see
Mhm.
because 'cause you're not thinking about what to
Oh my god,
do.
that's so fascinating. They serve pretzels and beer a lot at
Mhm.
like or peanuts and beer. They go together.
Well, I think the salt makes you thirsty, and so then you order a drink, and the drink makes the salt taste great, so then you're like, "Oh,
And
I
then you
need
get
another drink."
it's a cycle, man. It's a cycle.
It's the psychology of really restaurants and bars that
Yeah.
they're putting this in front of you because they know what the human biology
You're
is.
right. They know that.
They know.
There's a bar by me and I don't go there anymore. I mean, I not that I just don't have that lifestyle anymore. They have at the bar, if you sit at the bar, they have goldfish
Oh,
with like just unending supply of goldfish and it's I always loved it. I'd be like, "Yeah, let's go there. Let's go to some goldfish and a drink." But now it's making sense to me.
yeah.
And it's why
Yeah.
there's a restaurant that has popcorn, fresh popcorn.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Wow. 'Cause you drink
Mo
more, you want more.
no, movie theater should do that.
They probably would if they could get a liquor license, let's be honest here.
But you'd order more soda or,
Yeah, you get more popcorn.
Mhm.
Hmm,
It's
interesting.
just it's just really fascinating. I know we were kind of all over the place today, but there was just so many questions. I kept asking more and more questions, and I'm like, "Well, that's interesting. What about this? And what about that?"
Mhm. I did learn a
So,
lot about salt. I really,
yeah.
really was fascinated after I'm not kidding, it took a long time for me to understand it, like, how the kidneys functioned.
Mhm.
I finally got it, and I was like, "Okay, now it's making sense to me." And
Yeah.
then I was like, "This is pretty cool, like, my body does this for me."
Right.
So
Right. And one last fact before we do our call to actions, people who have kidney issues who can't take salt or their kidneys can't process it, they can flavor their food with herbs and
mm.
other ingredients that would replace the effect of salt, you
Oh,
know.
that's a good idea.
Mhm.
That's a
So,
good idea. I wonder, and I know you don't have the answer to this and I don't, but I wonder if some people are more salt sensitive, like genetically. Like,
oh,
you
I'm
know how
sure.
some people can have cilantro and some can't?
Mhm.
I wonder if there's like my husband he can't stand salt at all. And I can like
Really?
lick it straight from the container.
Me
So when
too.
I cook anything, I put no salt at all in it, and then we all whoever eats, I'm always like, "Salt it, you're not gonna offend me, salt it."
Right. Yeah.
So, I
I think
wonder
you're
if that's
right
a
because
genetic disposition.
I think so. I'm thinking about some of the people that I know, they always add salt to their food.
Yeah.
Always.
Hmm, I know,
Uh,
I always do.
so the takeaway for me from this was just eat like fruits and vegetables
Yeah,
and not
yes,
processed foods, and then you'll be okay.
exactly, and eat at a restaurant in very limited amounts.
Yes, and there are also tips, which I didn't really write down, but there's tips for eating at a restaurant. if you are trying to avoid sodium.
Okay. Like ask for no butter on things or probably
No
things like
butter,
that.
dressing on the side, no seasoning, add it yourself,
Mhm.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
tips if you were really trying to be mindful.
That's good to know. Very good to know. So do you have a call to action?
I do. Do you?
All right. You looked very devious when you said that. What is it?
I've been thinking about this all week because I've kind of phoned it in the past couple of weeks.
Hmm.
Sometimes I think when it comes to making these call to actions, I am without idea, without inspiration. And then I see somebody, I'm like, that's really interesting. I wonder what that would be like for me. So then
Okay.
that's what happened this week. I got inspired by my daughter.
Oh,
So she eats many small meals
okay.
because her capacity is very less, but she gets hungry often. So I was thinking what it would be like for me to say, I'm going to eat a smaller meal now and I can come back in an hour, hour and a half and eat something else.
Hmm.
One day she made for herself apple, cheese, grapes. There's some other protein she put, some like a bunch of random things. Like she made a little charcuterie plate for herself.
Okay.
And I thought, well, how interesting is that? Because first of all, you're not feeling like you don't have chance to eat because it's going to be there in a little while. You can stop when you're actually full, and there could be health benefits to eating less food.
So
So,
she like makes little snacks throughout the day
yes,
instead
she
of a
she
meal.
well, she does eat meals, but she'll eat
Mhm.
less. And people are really bothered. They're like, "Why don't you eat more? You should eat more." But her capacity is just less. She
Hmm.
can't eat it. She'll get sick.
Probably 'cause she's never overdone it to the point repeatedly that her stomach is bigger
So then I was thinking maybe I can retrain my brain.
and stomach.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that I'm gonna be working on eating many smaller meals throughout the day.
Okay. I like that for you. I think that's a good one.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
I am excited about it actually.
Yeah, and I think it's doable. I think some people can't do it because their job doesn't they're like, "I gotta eat
Sure.
a big amount, and then I have 5-hour break." So I think but for you, I think that's something that definitely that would work good for you.
Yeah.
Hmm, okay, I like that. Um, I have 2 really quick ones.
Oh, okay.
The first one is I am gonna buy pink Himalayan salt because I don't have it, and I'm interested in it, and I really want to, um, just see what it tastes like maybe and see what it's about.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would like to pay attention to is my fiber still. Have done really good on it, but since I wasn't a call to action, I kind of let it slip a little bit. So
Mhm.
I just want to go back to it and make sure that I'm making that a routine before I stop taking it off the table.
Ah, good
So, like
point.
I did really good, and I wouldn't even say I failed on I'm doing good with it. But
Mhm.
until I get that as a routine to have consistently 15 grams or more a day, I think I need to keep it on the table.
Okay. I like it.
So we'll see.
Well, great.
All right. Well, this was fun and interesting to me.
It was to me too, actually. I learned so
Right.
much.
I know. It was good. All right. Well, have a good week.
You too. Bye.
Bye.